here today with Gingiss, and he is a professional speaker. And so why don't you tell us a little bit more about kind of your background, what you do, and your professional industry that you're in?
Absolutely. So, as you said, I'm a professional speaker. I run a company called The Experience Maker, and I teach audiences, corporations, associations how to create the kinds of experiences that customers want to talk about. Because I spent 20 years as a marketer, did every marketing channel there is, and what I learned is the single best marketing is someone else marketing for you. So when we can get other people to talk about us, always sounds better than when we talk about ourselves. And I believe the best way to do that is to give people experiences that they want to share with others. So that's what I do. And I do that in keynotes, workshops, trainings, and also some consulting.
That's awesome. Like, I have a background in psychology, and so the immediate questions that kind of come to my head is like, what are the key things that stick out that really make an impact, that you're sharing about a company, sharing about a person, when you, like you said, you're kind of doing the marketing for them. What really clicks? What really resonates with audiences usually?
So I have a methodology that I developed based on my own experience in corporate America, as well as working with lots of other companies. And I call it WISE because I want as many people as possible to become wise to the power of customer experience.
That's awesome.
And so WISE stands for witty, immersive, shareable, and extraordinary. And very briefly, witty is about having a little bit of a sense of humor, not being hysterical, but being clever and using language to your advantage. So every time we communicate, we have an opportunity to just be a little bit more fun, a little bit more human. And that's what witty is. Immersive is about creating experiences that people feel in their bones. And usually that's because we've either hit on one of their emotions or on one of their five senses. And if you think about back to all of your childhood memories, usually there's something in there that you can taste or smell or see or feel, right? Shareable is about creating those moments that people can't help it. They reach into their pocket or their purse, they pull out their phone because they have to capture that moment. You don't even have to tell them to do it. They just do it. And it doesn't matter whether they share it to 1 million followers or they just share it with a couple colleagues at work or some friends and family. They're still talking about you, your event, your brand, and that's word of mouth marketing. And then the fourth one is extraordinary. And the reality is nobody shares an ordinary experience. And yet most of the experiences that we have every day with the brands we do business with, pretty dang ordinary. So when we kick it up a notch to extra and have it a little bit better than ordinary, it's actually an amazing way to stand out. So extraordinary doesn't have to be super expensive or big. It just has to be a little bit better than everybody else.
That's amazing. So the two that really pop out to me that you shared was shareable. So I want to follow up on that a little bit more. Because in this day and age with social media and attention, where people are getting pulled either direction when they're creating content. I know some of your stuff is there in person, but even as that spans to go online, let's say through a video, are there any key elements that you've seen that make it more shareable or make it so that it, again, is something somebody would want to share?
Yeah, so I think there's really two things. The first I like to call is self-personalization. So when we can create our own experiences, we like them better. So if you get to pick your Sunday toppings, it's a lot more fun than if I give you a Sunday with the toppings that I've picked for you, right? And so when you make your own Sunday, that becomes a more shareable moment because, I don't know, maybe you like to stack gummy bears on top of it, and see how many you can stack till they fall down or whatever it is that is your thing. When you get to self-personalize, it becomes more shareable. Also, being able to use your name in things or something personal about you so that it's an experience that only you could have. That's something that people want to share. I think also shareable experiences at things like events. Usually what it is it's a place that people see and they're like, wow, I want to take a selfie in front of that spot. And it doesn't have anybody's logo on it. And it doesn't have a sign that says take a selfie here, because that's a surefire way to get people not to. But it's a really cool background, or it's a really cool something that I haven't seen before that I want to remember it. And so what Shareable is really about is just getting people, is thinking about how do we get people to want to share without us asking.
That's awesome, because I can think of so many times that I'm walking by something in a restaurant or just out a piece of artwork, and it just immediately makes me want to take a selfie with it. So, and share it out, post it online. So that's great. That's good. I even, when we were putting this booth together here, I was like thinking, what can we do? And we're just like, oftentimes what we do is this kind of stuff, like interactive video, showing off what we can do overall with all of our technology. So that's kind of my go-to, but it makes me think even more of like the scale of the not pointing people here, but gravitating them there. So that's a beautiful kind of thing. It's this subliminal sort of like system that's set up that creates that gravity. So I think that's awesome. And then the other thing was extraordinary. Extraordinary. I wanted you to clarify what is an example of ordinary, and then what is that jump to extraordinary, and do you have any examples of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of joke in my keynotes that extraordinary sounds expensive, but it doesn't have to be a private Beyonce concert with a fireworks show afterwards. Like that's extraordinary, but that is a $50 million investment that most people don't have. So one of my favorite examples is a restaurant that I took my son to for his birthday called Fleming's Steakhouse. And we walked in and the maitre d' handed him a birthday card that was signed by the staff, which I thought was really cool. We sit down for dinner and it's actually my daughter that says, you know, if they give him a birthday card, I'll bet they're going to do something really cool for dessert. I'll bet, she says, they're not going to just give him a slice of cake and a candle. And that got me thinking, because isn't it kind of cool to get a slice of cake and a candle for free on your birthday?
Oh, yeah.
But the problem is almost every restaurant does it. And so you've never seen anybody have a conversation where they're like, you're never going to believe what happened to me. Last night, I was at dinner and it was my son's birthday, and they came out for, wait for it, they came out with a slice of cake and a candle, right? Nobody says that because everybody that is watching this has had that happen once in their life. So Fleming's instead comes out with a box of 4 handmade chocolates. It's sitting on a plate with happy birthday spelled out in cocoa powder. And instead of a candle, they have a sparkler. And a sparkler makes all the difference because a sparkler is cool. A sparkler, when you take a picture, if you don't know, with your iPhone, a sparkler, you can capture the individual sparks, which of course makes it perfectly Instagram ready. A sparkler is not more expensive. It's not more operationally complex. It doesn't require more technology. It's just different from a candle and therefore better. And that's the difference of the ordinary versus extraordinary. So even if all they did was come out with a slice of cake and a sparkler, it's still a step up from everybody else. And when we were around this table, 4 of us around the table, they didn't tell us to do it. Everyone pulled out their phones. Everyone took a picture of the dessert because it was gorgeous. And I like to joke that the 2 adults shared to Facebook because that's what we adults do. The 2 kids shared to Snapchat because that's what they do. But just like that, Fleming's Steakhouse has 4 people talking about them positively just because they decided not to do the same thing everyone else does for birthdays. And what I love about this message, you know, because most people watching are not in the restaurant industry, but I look at it as a metaphor that there are lots of places in your business where you do the candle thing. The candle thing's cool. It's nice. You've been doing it a long time. You probably do it because everybody else does it. And that's a great sign to say we can do better. We don't have to do more expensive. We just can do better by doing different. And when we do something different, elevate from a candle to a sparkler, people take notice, they talk about it, they share, and they remember.
Yeah, that's a great example. And I can definitely see how it translates. And even how like I can consider that with even like my business and what we're doing. There's definitely lots of ways and stories also that I've heard along those lines that really like show the way that like giving a step up creates more attention and likewise a shareable piece of content. So one last question that I wanted to ask you though is because you're from Chicago, right?
I am.
Yeah, so you flew in. So if you're speaking around the country for the most part, I'm assuming, right? So what kinds of trends are you seeing with the evolution of events and shows that you're going to and what clients are asking for? Anywhere along those topics, like I'm just curious, like in the event world, in the space, what are trends that you're seeing and where do you think innovations are coming down the road?
Yeah, I think what you're really seeing is the I in my methodology, immersive. And if you look around the Northwest Event Show, look at all of the immersive experiences. They've got pickleball, they've got video games and pinball machines and skee ball. They've got things to do, different foods to sample from different food trucks. All of this is really what is immersive because immersive is about the senses. Sight, taste, smell, touch. And I think that is absolutely a trend, is that people they don't want to just come and listen to a person standing behind a podium lecturing at them. They can do that from home and watch it on video. They want to experience it. They want to feel it. And then, you know, as an event professional, I want to send people home telling everybody you can't afford to miss this event next year.
Yeah. Yeah, and even on that note, that's definitely something that I've definitely seen that as well. Like even for us, we do live interactive broadcasts. So the interactive piece to that is connecting the technology in with via chat or live video, pulling people in, Mentimeter to do live polling, little
Yeah.
games that we do. We've done shows where we have game shows that people will come on up, even though it's a corporate show. The employees will come as a game show. I think you're right. Like now that you say that, I definitely see that trend picking up more and more and more and more. So that's awesome. So one last thing is, how can people get a hold of you? And if they want to have you as a speaker, how do they book you? So go ahead and give your information on how the audience here could connect with you.
Absolutely. Well, luckily, I'm an easy guy to find online. Dan Gingiss is my name, and I'm at dangingiss.com. Very active on LinkedIn, little less so on Instagram, but you can find me there as well. And you can reach out directly on the website, and you'll get to me, and I'll be happy to talk to you about your event and booking me. I'd love to come speak.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.